Hello all, Casual Noob Gamer back at you with another video. Oh yeah, video. So we just got announced, if you're using the Nintendo Today app, 8:30 this morning it went off that we are getting a Nintendo Direct on Friday, September 12th, 2025 at 6 a.m. Pacific time or 9 a.m. Eastern time. So it didn't go off on a notification until a little bit afterwards, but if you checked at 8:30 exactly, because tomorrow it's now September 10th. Tomorrow is going to be September 11th. No company wants to make a post about anything because they want to be respectful in observance of 9/11 here in America. So that's why a lot of people were expecting to check the Nintendo Today app. Actually, if you follow a channel called Botox Games, but on his Twitter account for It's a Me Bo, he actually posted before Wario did, which was very interesting because I'm sure that Wario has a thing that possibly, I guess, a Nintendo representative can put that information as like a scheduled tweet at the time that they're putting something up, or he may have been also watching the app and then, you know, taking a screenshot or whatever of it. I don't know if you're allowed to actually show off stuff from that. It's Amiibo did not. He just said Nintendo Direct confirmed. I think he said on the Nintendo Today app. Anyway, but the point is, they didn't say it's a Mario specific Direct, which is what I thought. However, the Direct runtime is going to be 60 minutes. Usually we get about 40 to 45 minutes for a general Direct. And if it's an extra 15 to 20 minutes, that could be the Mario 40th anniversary celebration information about Mario stuff. So I don't know if they're going to bunch it together as one thing and say, hey, let's talk about Mario. Kind of like what they did with Zelda for the 35th in 2021, I want to say. So they were like, hey, and then they showed off the Game & Watch and talked about Skyward Sword and, you know, stuff like that. And then showed a decent trailer for Breath of the Wild, which we hadn't seen since 2019. So my predictions for this Direct, because Switchforce called this, he said on the 12th, he gave a specific date. Nate the Hate came in a little bit afterwards and said the 11th or the 12th, not committing to either date, but obviously a lot of people very much felt that the 11th was going to be off limits for not only announcements of a Direct to announce for a Direct the next day, but there would not be any Direct on that day in observance of 9/11 here in the US. So my predictions, if we're trusting Switchforce, which I say to trust because I mean I trusted beat 'em ups and obviously that fell through, but Switchforce so far has been calling stuff and getting it. I don't know if he is working with Nintendo in the background, because Nintendo is, you know, they're very, I think they understand that the Wii U, the failure was the marketing, and they have a resource which is all these YouTube channels that basically, yes, they don't have like millions of followers, but they have enough followers that they could get the discussion going. And I feel Nintendo wants to just keep things in the minds of people, even if they're like my child. Obviously, I don't have a lot of people watching me, but I discuss things about Nintendo, and I'm making videos that are out there, and that is keeping the system and the software in the minds of people, because we're speculating and talking about stuff. So I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Nintendo." I'm sure Nintendo doesn't like leaks. They like to control the narrative, but they also want that narrative out there. Yes, they could announce these directs like at the beginning of the year, because they know way ahead of time when they're going to do them, but plans change. And if they put a thing out saying, hey, September 12th, and they do that at the beginning of the year, and then a bunch of games fall through in development, because Nintendo likes to announce stuff closer to release. The idea of Metroid Prime 4, that was a thing because at that time, the Switch One needed to announce games. So they put out that information way ahead of schedule. And that is like a prime example of why you don't announce things early. Because now, since then, all people have been talking about is, when is it coming? When is it coming? When is it coming? And yes, that is building up hype, but it's also bringing, letdowns for people who at each direct go, is it coming? Is it coming? Is it going to be here? Kind of like Silksong did for people. Like, people were making fun of people who were clamoring for Silksong every time, and it became almost a meme, which helped them. But it also, made people sad because it wasn't there, and it disappointed people. And you don't want your product to be a disappointment. You want it to be a success, not, something that, makes people like disappointed, like, like that, the cliche deadbeat dad that never shows up to, see their kids or spend time with them. So anyway, my predictions are, if we're trusting Switch Wars, which I do, he mentioned 3 games that had a 7 in it. And that basically, one of those 7 games is most likely Final Fantasy VII Remake. The rumors out there right now are that we're getting Resident Evil 7, but then they said something about all the Resident Evil games are coming. So that's the second 7, Resident Evil. And then I personally feel that third 7 is they're going to announce that Rebirth is coming. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So those are going to be the big 7 that I feel. Switch Wars said that because people were giving them their guesses. He ruled out a few things like Ace Attorney 7. Like, I don't think that's hype. I think Nintendo wants super hype because we're about to go into the holiday. Yes, not everything may be coming out, because, like, I'm sure Rebirth is not coming out yet because they're just getting Remake, under wraps. And I think that's scheduled for this year. I mean, I forgot what the initial... I know Elden Ring was said to be this year, and that should come out too. So maybe we see a little Elden Ring. We're going to hear a little bit about Borderlands, because Borderlands, it's scheduled to come out, I think, actually on the 12th for everywhere else except Switch 2. And then Switch 2 is the 24th. Don't quote me on those dates. Listen, if they need like an extra week, listen, I'm not ready to play Borderlands 4 yet anyway. And I'm definitely not getting a key card on that game. So I'll pick it up digitally when I'm ready. It's good to know for people who are excited. Switch 2, like Switch one of the great things is that you could play it on the go. I mean, the battery life isn't great, so I guess technically it's kind of in the realms of Steam Deck with battery life with things. But I do like the fact that, like, with Steam Deck, it always seems like you're always having to tinker with stuff. And I don't like that. Plus, with Switch, you do have the occasional chance now to get games natively on a cartridge, although we're finding out that the cartridges from the rumors of what a Ubisoft developer said was that the cartridges are not performing up to speed for at least the is it the Unity engine, or no, I think the Snowdrop engine that Ubisoft is using. So that may not be the case for all game engines. Maybe some game engines work well with the read speeds, but yeah, you may be better putting your games, because I know the express cards and the internal storage are the best place for this stuff to run off of. But I'm considering going all digital because I do have that ability with the people that I do share games with, who I do see in person, are on my family plan, so I could just lend them a digital game, and then I don't have to worry about when I lend a game out, am I going to get it back, because it automatically comes back in 14 days. And you could also take it back immediately if you want to, as long as their system is in range of the internet to remove that. But yeah, so I think we're gonna get Mario 40th. My prediction for Mario 40th, it's either gonna be a segment or all throughout, and they'll end the show with, like, a big 3D Mario game, or I think we may get a couple things. I think we may get Wonder, either a Switch 2 edition, which may shadow drop, I want to say, or we may get a Wonder 2. I think we're going to get a 3D Mario, and I think we're also going to get a Mario 4K All-Stars, which is going to be the 3D games that we got from 3D All-Stars, which was Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, and then the fourth game is going to be Mario Galaxy 2, and that's going to be $80, $20 a game. So you may be able to buy them individually on the eShop, but if Mario 64 is, like, updated to 4K graphics, and it's not, because when you play that on 3D All-Stars, it's still like the little square N64 screen. I don't know if you can stretch, I haven't checked on the N64 Classics app, but yeah, so yeah, Galaxy 2, that's gonna be the Mario stuff. We're gonna get an update on the next Mario movie. They're gonna maybe talk about maybe some Lego sets or toys, or the Mario, the new app, what is it called, Mario Me or something, where little kids can play with Mario's face, because let's be honest, Nintendo needs to get the next generation of kids interested in Mario. They may not have a console. If they play with the Mario app enough as a little kid, when they get older, the parents are going to be like, oh, well, there's these Mario games, and you're old enough for games, maybe I'll get that for you. So I think that is a very smart move by Nintendo, by also making that app free, so parents can just have the kids play with it and do whatever, and there's no microtransactions that the parents have to worry about. When it comes to games, basically the Resident Evil games were talked about as rumors. We know Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming. Nate the Hate has said Rebirth is also coming, so we may get that announced. We have a bunch of games we don't have dates for. So Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, we have to know about that. They may do a quick little thing on Kirby, because I know that even Sakurai said he was surprised by the interest in it for that direct that he did. So I doubt we'll get but they also, we have to also know about new stuff that is coming for next year until the next direct. So they have to give us kind of what I would call, usually they give us like 1 or 2 games for January and February of next year. I mean, there's been for the longest time a rumored Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War game. That is, I think that's a remake. It's basically a Fire Emblem remake. That has been rumored that is done. I mean, would we get something? I mean, we're getting in September Persona 3 Reload. I mean, that's going to be a game key card, but still people are just going to buy that digitally because people like to have, a lot of people have been waiting for that. I mean, we still have games like Metaphor that we know about. Not that it's coming to Switch 2 yet, but they could announce Metaphor. They could say something about Clair Obscur. But I think that Nintendo wants to keep those closer to release. And if they're not really coming into January, February time, then I don't know. I mean, usually around early part of the year, they release Kirby games. So we just got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the DLC. So we may get Kirby Planet Robobot because that was also rumored by Nate the Hate to be coming over. That may be the February game. And they do that. I mean, honestly, from what we know rumor-wise, that's really most of the big rumors. I think we'll see anything bigger like a Metaphor, because people had said that when we were getting Persona 3 Reload, we were going to get it plus the DLC included in it. But you got to realize, I mean, not to give any shade to Atlus or Sega, but they're not about to give anything that they can charge for. I mean, look at Persona 5. They released Persona 5 originally on the PS3, and that game is still going with remakes, DLC, and whatnot, and we have not heard about Persona 6 yet. So Atlus is basically working on Persona 4, 5, and 6 and doing whatever. I mean, we already got announced Persona 4, was it Revival? I forgot what the name of that was. Also, speaking of Revival, we have, I think it's Hellraiser Revival, which I don't know if it's coming out this year or early next year. So that could be something that they announce because they're trying to show that Switch can handle other types of games. Now, I know that is coming to, the Hellraiser game is coming to PS5 and Xbox. I don't know if it's coming to Switch also. I imagine eventually that will come to the platform. I mean, we always have, the idea of different, fighting games and beat 'em up games. I mean, Tekken 8 was rumored, so you could see that. They were kind of coyfully playing. Oh, that would be interesting if we put that on the Switch. In an interview, I believe the developer of Tekken 8 said something like that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, there is so much that could happen. It's a very long direct. Nintendo first party stuff, I think, except for Age of Imprisonment, we got a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild and Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom this year, plus Wind Waker on the GameCube app. Now, I imagine that anything new Zelda-wise is going to be coming next year for Zelda's 40th anniversary. So don't expect anything Zelda this year, except for Age of Imprisonment. And usually the Hyrule Warriors games are games that come within the first year or years of the Nintendo consoles when they've been coming out. Because they usually utilize the newest hardware and the things that the hardware can do and push it to its limits. Also, I don't know if the game is going to run at 60. Because I do feel that for next year, the 40th anniversary, we're going to get a Switch 2 edition of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and some sort of Wind Waker Twilight Princess double pack. And that will be a limited thing because they have that on the NSO apps, but they want to give you the opportunity as a fan to buy and own your set physical copy. And with the fact that 64 gigabyte carts are expensive, I mean, I know Nintendo is, not exactly paying the price that everyone else is paying because it is, I think it's their proprietary technology, but they still have to pay something for it. So if anything, I would imagine they would put both games on one cartridge instead of splitting it and possibly splitting the sales and making it a limited time thing, because Twilight Princess can also come to the GameCube NSO app because that was a GameCube game as well as a Wii game. And also Wind Waker and Twilight Princess were Wii U games in HD. So if they made them as, as the games to be sold and they were 4K as a release, that would be something else. But anyway, that is my predictions. We have a Nintendo Direct on September 12th, 2025. It's going to be at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be roughly 60 minutes, they said. And I think that we're going to get some Mario anniversary stuff in there. So don't expect a second Direct this month unless there is something separate. Oh yeah, Metroid Prime 4. We are most likely going to get a release date for that. They may even shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3 digitally for this month and then make the physical release in a couple weeks the way they did with Prime Remastered. So that'll come out there. And then Metroid Prime 4 will probably be a November game, I would imagine, because that and Kirby Air Riders can be sold in the same month. Because first off, November is usually packed for Christmas sales, and those don't really cannibalize each other's sales because one is a racing game made by Sakurai and the other one is a Metroid Prime game, which has both games are smaller niche audiences from the games prior, so they really shouldn't do anything, but they can move the system, especially if people show comparisons that the Metroid Prime 4, which is going to be on Switch and Switch 2, is going to run a lot better on Switch 2. So once people see the comparisons, they may say that, you know what, it's just worth it to get the Switch 2 version. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what your predictions are Are you excited for the Direct on the 12th? I will also not be putting up a video for tomorrow on September 11th in observance of the day. So I will have a Direct, like, recap thoughts afterwards, after the Direct, to talk about it. Let's see what I got right. Hit the bell notification to know when my videos go up. And you have a great rest of your day. Later.